in our business, Andy, from a brand building perspective, you've worked with a sourcing agent overseas for pretty much since day one with your brand. I know there's a lot of question a lot of times if you're going to be doing private label importing, do you use a sourcing agent? Do you not? Is it more expensive? Probably, but maybe just walk us through some of the benefits you've seen there. So what have you seen though, using agents and building those supplier relations?
Yeah, again, very similar. So we'll start with the international overseas first. So with the previous brand that I had that I sold 2 years ago, one of the keys to making that quality of that product better was when I visited China, went to the manufacturer, went along with my my sourcing agent who I had a relationship with, and had dinner with this manufacturer, with the factory owner. It was actually the first time I've ever eaten chicken feet before. So, that's something that they eat in Asia frequently. My first time eating it with them, I remember he said to me, like when I ate it, he was like, "You don't eat that in America, do you?" And I'm like, "Nah, we really don't." He said something like, "Well, it's funny because you'll eat everything, from a pig. You'll eat everything from the chicken, but you won't eat the feet, right?" And so he's a little bit, kind of making fun of me, like calling me a hypocrite, basically. Well, I just kind of laughed, but it was just all part of the relationship building. But out of that, I was able to get better terms with this manufacturer, as well as, so the product that I was selling at the time, it was a clothing product, and they had about 15 seamstress in their factory. And my sourcing agent, at the time, she would actually go in while they were making the product, and she would say, "Hey, look, I really feel like these two seamstress are the best, right? Like they take the most care. Let's ask the factory owner and say, hey, look, when you produce our product for us, can you please just have these two seamstress, making our product?" So he basically gave us two dedicated seamstress. That never would have happened had I not gone there, had I not had dinner with them, right? And so there are huge benefits, right, through that relationship building. And then I think about, our current brand, one of the ways that we've really been able to up the quality as well as up just the overall relationship is now we have a full-time person that works for us that builds the relationship with the factory owner, that's working with the sales rep, and again, is in that factory on a daily basis when we can't be because of COVID. Really, you still can't travel to some countries in Asia. And so that's been super beneficial, super helpful. So at the end of the day, what I think my counsel is just always understand that you have to acquire, right, more profitable inventory. And the inventory that you are acquiring should always be getting better. And generally that only happens if you have great relationships, again, if you're doing retail arbitrage with those managers, or you are building up that relationship with that supplier.
And, for someone listening and saying, yeah, Andy, you were able to visit China. It's different. You were able to establish this relationship. You already kind of hit on it, but what would be your advice to someone who is looking to, and maybe it's not even China, maybe it's Vietnam, maybe it's Taiwan, maybe it's India, but it's not the US and it's not easy to visit right now. Yes. What's your advice?
So a lot of times people think like trading companies are a bad thing, right? And we learned this from Steve Simonson, and that's not necessarily the case. Like trading companies, there are a lot of unique advantages that they can bring to your business because they are there, right, in the country. They have people that are there in the country. And so they can really act as your representative. So, once you find a trading company and you begin to work with them and you feel like the trust is there, my suggestion always is use them. And again, a lot of times they may work with, they may already work with the factory that you're working with. So they might be able to get a better discount. They understand how to negotiate 100 times better, than you or I. They understand the process. So, a lot of people think, well, man, if I use a trading company, it's going to cost me more money. And it may not in the end. It actually might cost you less, and they may save you a lot of headaches.
Yeah, it might be the time and the knowledge savings more than anything that makes the big difference.